Welcome to Verdict Vantage, covering breaking news stories. Thank you for supporting our research. We would like to extend a trigger warning before we continue. Please be advised.
This video contains discussions about true crime, which may include topics such as violence, assault, and other distressing incidents. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you are interested in our future coverage of this story, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell before you go. Verdict Vantage thanks you for supporting our continued news coverage and research.
At this time, the decision's been made to scale back on the ground search.
Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today is the day I hope you will donate.
At this time, the decision's been made to scale back on the ground search operations.
A Sumner County teen missing a week now, and authorities remain determined to find him. But as you heard, search efforts are being reduced, with emphasis now on the investigation of the teen's disappearance. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen at his Hendersonville home last Sunday, and search crews say there hasn't been a sign of him since. News 2's Tori Gessner is joining us live from outside the command center, which looks a lot different compared to this morning. Tori.
Yeah, Haley, Bob, the command center has practically cleared out compared to previous days. Investigators say they have no lead indicating that Sebastian Rogers is no longer alive, but they say they have exhausted every single resource that exists looking for him. Now, some crews today did spend the day looking for the 15-year-old, this time within a 0.3 of a mile radius from his home where he was last seen. Over the past 8 days, investigators have used ATVs, canines, helicopters, drones, and more to search for Sebastian. We didn't see any of those resources on the ground today. So many community members have offered to volunteer to help look for Sebastian, and even though authorities are scaling back their search, they still ask the public refrain from searching anywhere other than their own properties. They say they can't have volunteer searchers because it would be impossible for them to track and communicate with everyone. Investigators may be scaling back search-wise, but they say they'll now use some of those resources in another way.
Let me be clear that this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side. We are still committed to finding Sebastian and bringing him home safe. We have no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian...
Tori Gessner, News 2.
Today marks 1 week since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen. The teen's disappearance from his Hendersonville home resulted in even the Tennessee National Guard getting involved in the search effort. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. First responders say they have exhausted every resource possible looking for him. News 2's Tori Gessner is joining us live tonight to explain how things will change moving forward. Tori.
Well, Haley, Bob, the command center is now cleared and it will no longer be manned 24/7. First responders do have a plan in place, they say, in case of a possible sighting of Sebastian Rogers. But like you said, they are entering into the investigation phase. What that investigation will look like or what it'll entail is unclear. First responders say they've exhausted every possible resource to find Sebastian, from draining a pond to searching the storm drain system to using helicopters, ATVs, canines, and help from multiple agencies around the state as far as Knox County. Search and rescue experts have advised authorities there really aren't any other tools they could use right now. Law enforcement is being tight-lipped about next steps, and they didn't take any questions during today's press conference. One thing they have reiterated, though, is that the decision to scale back does not mean they're giving up on bringing Sebastian home. Crews have been working tirelessly, and throughout it all, the community has shown its support by donating food and supplies.
Our heroic first responders, the entire search team that is out looking, our hearts go out to them. We support this community. We're rallying behind them, and anything that we can do to make a difference, we're happy to chip in.
Now, investigators are still encouraging the public to send in any tips. They say no information is too small. They're also encouraging you to keep searching your properties, but they say they still can't take any volunteer searchers to search outside of that because they say there's no way they could communicate or touch base and track them all. Live in Hendersonville, Tori Gessner, News 2.
Today does mark 9 days since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers went missing from his home in Hendersonville. After searching day in, day out for the teen, crews are now scaling efforts back. Jack's Pigeon's here to explain what the changes will look like.
Neil, while their daily operations will appear significantly different, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office made clear they're not giving up. The command post no longer sits in front of the Shackle Island Fire Department, as you can see here. The first responders say a small crew is still on site. Officials say the decision to cut back efforts did not come lightly. However, they feel they've exhausted every resource possible in their search, using anything from helicopters to canines to cave searchers and more. So instead of having hundreds of searchers on the ground, they will now shift their focus to the investigation into the boy's disappearance.
Let me be clear that this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side. We are still committed to finding Sebastian and bringing him home safe. We have no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive.
Investigators are asking the public to continue checking their properties and surveillance cameras to reach out to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI with any information. Nikki.
Well, mounted patrols are on standby today to help with the search for Sebastian Rogers. Now, there's been no sign of the teen since he disappeared more than a week ago. Then yesterday, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office significantly scaling back their search to focus on the investigative side. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry spoke with one of the volunteer mounted patrols who says he's on call for the time he and his horse are ever needed again.
So you're hoping that every day that you go out there, you're expecting to find something and you're thinking this is the day.
Every day since Tuesday last week, R&M stables have assisted in the search for missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. But on Monday, authorities announced resources dedicated to search parties would be scaled back to allow for an investigation. The owner of R&M Stables, Ron Chalasta, tells me his service horse, Trooper, and ranch hand Brian Feltz are just waiting for the call from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office to get back out and help where they can.
There does come a point, and of course, you want to keep exhausting every possibility. We even covered some trail that we had previously covered.
Riding through creeks, rocky terrain, and people's backyards, being mounted on a horse gave Ron and his team an advantage that people on foot and in ATVs didn't have.
You can get up to those higher elevations where it's very difficult for somebody who's doing that on foot, where ATVs can't get through the brush.
Through an app called Equilab, volunteer-mounted patrols' steps were tracked in their assigned perimeter. Trooper and Ron navigated an estimated total of 37 miles together in the search for Sebastian.
Chief Craddock said, hey, can somebody ride from Command Center all the way down to Hendersonville Mounted Police Barn? And our horses, Jeff Duran and Brian and I, we were in the water that whole afternoon. And so the banks were saturated. It was a rough go.
Now, with the search efforts scaled back, Ron says the community of Sumner County won't give up on finding Sebastian in Sumner County.
There are really people behind them, the prayer warriors in our community that are praying for them. That's what you have to stand on. We can never give up hope.
Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
And you can find additional updates on the search for Sebastian and photos at WKRN.com. And please reach out to the TBI or Sumner County Sheriff's Office if you have any new information to add.
This is a News 2 break. breaking news alert.
Breaking news in the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office tells News 2 their investigators, assisted by Kentucky State Police, are searching the landfill in Kentucky where trash went from Sebastian's neighborhood. Kentucky State Police confirmed to News 2 investigators are still on the scene at the landfill in Hopkins County. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office says there is no specific information that indicates evidence related to the search for Sebastian may be there. The Sheriff's Office says it's an investigative precautionary measure to eliminate possible options and questions. We'll, of course, continue to monitor this breaking story as we go throughout this newscast.
This is a News 2 breaking news alert.
Breaking news in the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office tells News 2 their investigators, assisted by Kentucky State Police, are searching the landfill in Kentucky where trash went from Sebastian's neighborhood. Kentucky State Police confirmed to News 2 investigators are still at the scene at the landfill in Hopkins County. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office says there is no specific information that indicates evidence related to the search for Sebastian may be there. The Sheriff's Office says it is an investigative precautionary measure to eliminate possible options and questions. Let's show you a map of where the landfill is now. It's here on your screen. It's just outside Nortonville, south of Madisonville. Now, it's not clear how long those investigators will be there, but we do have a news crew on the way. Let's catch you up to the timeline this morning on the case. It was Monday morning, February 26, when the Sumner County Sheriff's Office first received a report about Sebastian being missing. A search scaled up quickly, and over the next week, hundreds of searchers combed the area near the family home in Hendersonville. The past Monday that just happened, the Sheriff's Office announced that search was being scaled back, but investigative leads would still be followed. That brings us to this morning, where the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and Kentucky State Police again confirmed the search of a landfill in Hopkins County. News 2 will stay on top of all the developments around this case and bring you updates on air and online.
I've been out here in White Plains, Kentucky for about 2 hours, and the search has been going on throughout that time. I've seen a couple Sumner County vehicles go in and out in dump trucks. Some of those drivers are telling me that a lot of the regular spots where they drive in through are closed at the moment while this search is ongoing. So why are we here? This is where the trash from Sumner County ends up, according to the Sumner County Sheriff. So he got an order earlier this morning, a search warrant, I should say, to search this area, this landfill. They say right now it's just a precautionary measure to see if they can find any evidence. In White Plains, Kentucky, Adam Mintzer, News 2.
Thank you for joining us for News 2 at 3. I'm Mark Kelly. I want to start with that breaking news alert. The urgent search for that missing 15-year-old from Sumner County has crossed state lines. That Amber Alert was issued for Sebastian Rogers. That was early last week. Now, first responders and volunteers from all over the state answered that call to help in the search. Well, today, crews traveled to the Hopkins County Regional Landfill in Kentucky. News 2's Adam Mintzer joins us live from that landfill with the latest from investigators. Adam.
Mark, this is as close as they're letting us get to the search right now. They've been searching for the past few hours. I've been here for about 2.5, 3 as the search has continued. There's been about 20 Sumner County officials that we can see searching the area behind me. There's a little bit of a white tent behind me, and that's where really the majority of the search has been concentrated so far today. Now, we're hearing from law enforcement that they're planning on continuing this search through the day into the night. Once it does start to get dark out, they tell us that they will reassess and see what they will be doing in the days to come. Now, they do say this is all precautionary. They got the search warrant this morning to look at the landfill because this is where Sebastian's trash most likely goes to, the region of Sumner County where he lives. All of the waste ends up here in White Plains, Kentucky. Mark.
All right, Adam, real quick, you've been out there all throughout the day today as investigators are at that landfill. Tell us more about what you have seen and heard throughout their search today.
This really seems, Mark, to have shut down the landfill, the majority of the landfill for now. There was a long line of dump trucks, probably about 20, 30 trucks long that I saw as I was getting closer to the area. A couple of the drivers told me that some of the main places that they drive through have been cut off. So this operation really at scale, expanding so far beyond Nashville and impacting people here in Kentucky now. I'm live in White Plains. Adam Mincer, News 2.
All right, Adam, thank you so much. Happening now, the search for Sebastian Rogers has led investigators to Kentucky. That's where they are searching a landfill this evening. The Hendersonville teenager has been missing more than a week now, and this has sparked that massive search covering thousands of miles around his home back here in Tennessee, too. News 2's Adam Mincer is in Kentucky at the Hopkins County Regional Landfill and brings us more on the search officials are calling a precautionary measure.
Mark, we've been out here for a few hours now as Sumner County officials continue to search this landfill for any sign of where Sebastian Rogers might be. Now, we learned this morning that Sumner County officials got a search warrant to get a better look at this landfill, and we've been here trying to look and see more about what's going on. We've seen about 20 people go up and down that hill. You can kind of see that white tarp over my shoulder, and about 20 people from Sumner County working and moving around trash, trying to get a better look about what's going on. Now, we're told that once the sun sets, they will start reassessing what they're going to do going into tomorrow and to see what their next steps might be. This comes as we learned yesterday that they were actually scaling back the search for Sebastian. As you said, Mark, now this is just a precautionary measure according to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They're just trying to rule out any other possibilities or questions that might be lingering as the search continues into its 10th day. Mark?
All right, Adam Mincer live in Kentucky for us this evening. Adam, thank you so much.
Now, News 2 at 5.
Thank you, Mark. A backhoe digs through mounds of trash at a Kentucky landfill. It's the latest effort in the search for a missing 15-year-old that is intensifying. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. Sebastian Rogers became the subject of an Amber Alert when he went missing last week. The TBI released new images of Sebastian today. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office traveled to the White Plains landfill in Hopkins County as a precautionary measure. They say the landfill is where trash from Sebastian's neighborhood was taken to. News 2's Adam Mincer is joining us live from that search site with an update. Adam.
Haley, Bob, we actually just heard from the Sumner County Sheriff telling us that they were looking in a very specific location. The location right behind me with that white tarp right there and a few people moving around. As you can see, there's more activity there now than there was previously in the day. It looks like they've resumed normal operations. Now, what's interesting about what the sheriff just told us is that they were looking this specific area because the trash from Sebastian's neighborhood got dumped here today. They spoke to the driver of the trash truck for that area, and he said that it was put in that space right behind us. I want to show you some drone footage. This is as close as they've let us get to the search, but we took this a little bit earlier. You could see about 20 people searching this concentrated area using an excavator to move around the trash to get a better idea of what's there. As you said, this is all precautionary. The sheriff's office says that they were doing this to rule out possible questions and options, telling them where Sebastian may be. The search has been ongoing for about 10 days now. They extensively searched the area in Sumner County around Sebastian's home, and before moving here, about an hour and a half away to White Plains, Kentucky. Now, as it's starting to get dark, we're waiting to learn more about what, if anything, they found. As a reminder, Sebastian is 5'5" with dirty blonde hair, last seen wearing a black shirt and black sweatpants. Bob, Haley?
Adam, this has been a day-long effort. What happens now?
At the last we heard from the sheriff, he says that now they look at what they found, look at what they learned, and then they reassess whether it's worth it to continue searching here or to move on to other evidence and to whatever else they can learn through other sources.
Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. Sumner County investigators continue searching for leads in the disappearance of 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers.
Today, search crews traveled to a landfill in Hopkins County, Kentucky. It's where trash from Sebastian's neighborhood goes for disposal.
The teen has been missing for 10 days now, and despite a large search effort, officials say there are still no signs of Sebastian. News 2's Adam Mincer is live at the landfill with more today. Adam.
Haley, we just heard a short while ago from the Sumner County Sheriff telling us more specifically that they spoke to the person who picked up Sebastian Rogers' trash that day he went missing 10 days ago, and that person told them exactly where that he dropped off the trash from that neighborhood. And that's where they've been searching all day. You can see over my left shoulder, there's a little bit of a tarp. It's in that area that we saw crews up until about 30 minutes ago. They've been here all day for about 6 or 8 hours total. I saw about 20 people. Let me actually show you a little bit earlier what happened. We have some drone video of that moment. There was about 20 or so people from Sumner County searching that area closely. And we saw them actually shifting through the trash using machinery to get through it as well. It seems like those people in those machinery are gone now. We spoke to the sheriff's office a short while ago. They say that their original plan was to keep searching until it gets dark. We're about at that time right now. And we have no updates if they found anything at all so far today. Now, as you were talking about, this is a precautionary move that they decided to make. They said that they're looking here just to make sure that they've covered all the possible questions and options about where Sebastian might be. But it seems as we go into an 11th day, the search will continue. Live in Hopkins County, Adam Mincer, News 2.
The search for a missing teenager leads investigators to a massive landfill across state lines. No one has seen 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers in a week and a half.
Crews spent last week scouring the area around his Hendersonville home before suspending the search to focus on the investigation. That investigation led them to Hopkins County Regional Landfill in Kentucky. Why? Here's News 2's Sarah Smith.
When the sun went down, investigators left to prepare for day 2 of the search here. This is where the trash from Sebastian's neighborhood in Shackle Island ends up. Sumner County deputies say Sebastian's parents claim he left home around midnight Monday, February 26th, just hours before sources say the trash was picked up there. Crews have stopped at almost nothing to find the teen. We've seen helicopters, horses, ATVs, as well as police going door to door near his neighborhood, searching. Still no sign of Sebastian. Earlier this week, TBI says they've scaled back the search to focus more on the investigation part of this. Deputies not saying exactly what led them here to this landfill. Investigators say his parents have been cooperating. His hometown is a tight-knit community shaken by his disappearance. In White Plains, Kentucky, Sarah Smith, News 2.
It is no measure of sanity to be well-adjusted.
Sebastian Rogers, a 15-year-old in Sumner County, has been missing now since February 26th. The massive search for him is taking a turn as the Kentucky landfill is now being investigated. Peyton Kennedy is live from TBI headquarters with an update on the search and the national interest in this case.
And Nikki, according to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, that landfill, which is in White Plains, Kentucky, is where the trash from Sebastian's neighborhood in the beach area of Hendersonville went on the day that he went missing. Now, the TBI says no specific information or leads took them to that landfill besides what I just mentioned, but this is more of a precautionary measure. The sheriff's office says this is happening to eliminate possible options and questions. But unfortunately, there are still more questions than answers since Sebastian was reported missing almost 2 weeks ago now. I spoke with a podcaster who focuses on sharing the details of missing persons cases in the South for some perspective on how these cases ripple through communities and beyond. Here's what she has learned from her experiences.
I think it's just really important to keep an open mind when you're tuned in to social media and these Facebook groups, watching YouTube creators. I think sticking to the facts about what law enforcement has released, what we know to be factual information, is very important, and encouraging people to continue to share out the flyers and the factual information, and asking people, hey, if you see something, say something.
There are 2 new billboards up with Sebastian's information. They're up in the Nashville area, one by the Rivergate Mall, another along I-65 headed to Nashville from Hendersonville. Now, both of these average a total of about 330 views per day, and they are sponsored by people who want to bring Sebastian home. Live in Nashville, Peyton Kennedy, News 2.
Information this morning in the search for missing Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers. The sheriff's office says yesterday's search of a landfill did not give any new clues about where to find Sebastian. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office says the landfill in White Plains, Kentucky is where trash went from Sebastian's neighborhood. The TBI says no specific information led them to this landfill. Rather, it's a precautionary measure. This morning, the sheriff's office says no leads or evidence pertaining to Sebastian's whereabouts were discovered during that search. Officials say the decision to search the landfill was to eliminate possible options and questions. We spoke with a podcaster who focuses on sharing missing persons cases in the South.
My channel is just about helping to find missing people and get their information circulating out there, because the more that people share the information that I put out there, it's going to put that in front of a whole new group of people that might not otherwise see it if they're not subscribed to my social media channels. And it really takes a community. It takes a village of people working together, because you never know when somebody's going to see something and say, hey, I recognize that child.
Through her platform, donors have sponsored 2 new billboards in Nashville sharing details about Sebastian, one headed to the Rivergate Mall and one headed to downtown Nashville along I-65 from Hendersonville.
The Sumner County Sheriff says the landfill search in the Sebastian Rogers case turned up nothing. Sebastian has been missing for 11 days now. The 15-year-old has autism, and investigators say he does not have his medication with him. News 2's Adam Mincer looks at what has law enforcement learned, and after searching the highs and lows all across state lines.
15-year-old Sebastian Rogers must be somewhere.
We're doing everything we can. Every lead that we get, we're following.
Now, after a week and a half, Sumner Sheriff Sonny Weatherford put out a statement saying, while we had hoped for a different outcome, our commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering. The sheriff's office began the search on Monday, February 26.
I couldn't recall off the top of my head when the last search like this was.
Starting with a 2, then 5-mile radius search in the Shackle Island area. Law enforcement then expanded the radius exponentially. According to Sumner County officials, crews searched more than 2,000 miles on foot, went through Sebastian's home about 10 times, and deployed drones, helicopters, horses, search dogs, and dive teams.
We absolutely obliterated covering the area where Sebastian could have walked off to.
Chief Deputy Craddock repeating to reporters,
we're operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off. We have no evidence to disprove that. The family's been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement and our investigation.
TBI released a statement on the family's behalf, responding to comments online wondering why the family hasn't said much publicly. We have been requested by the family to let local media know that they are not in a position to speak to or be available to the media at this time. After that statement, the parents spoke, telling a podcast host Sebastian doesn't have his phone with him, hasn't been talking to anyone online, and doesn't have social media.
A little later in the evening, I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
And you did tell me that Sebastian is not a runner.
He's not.
Then on day 8 of the search, Sumner County said it was time to scale back.
Let me be clear that this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian.
Suddenly, the case moved north to a landfill in Hopkins County, Kentucky. The Sumner sheriff says that's where the trash for Sebastian's neighborhood ends up. And the person who picked up the trash the morning Sebastian went missing told them where he dropped off that load. While they said the search was precautionary, nothing came from it. Another dead end and a search entering its second week. In Nashville, Adam Mintzer, News 2.
We did ask the sheriff's office for updates on the case, specifically for the 911 calls or calls to the Sumner County area the day Sebastian disappeared, how many tips they have received, and whether they have any active leads in this case. And so far, we've yet to hear back.
Thank you. It's now been 11 days since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen in Sumner County. The search for the teen has been extensive, covering thousands of miles around his home, even crossing state lines. Jaxie Pigeons has the latest for us this morning on this case.
Well, on Thursday, investigators headed to Kentucky. Officials say as a precautionary measure, they searched the Hopkins County Regional Landfill in White Plains, where trash from Sebastian's neighborhood went. Trained search teams and canines were used to try and find any evidence for the case, but it proved to be a dead end, with officials saying no leads were discovered. In a recent statement, Sumner County Sheriff Sonny Weatherford says, quote, "While we had hoped for a different outcome, our commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering. We will continue to explore all available avenues and resources to bring closure to this case and provide answers to Sebastian's family and loved ones." Here's another look at Sebastian. He's 5'5" and weighs 120 pounds with dirty blonde hair. He's most likely wearing a black sweatsuit and glasses. So if you see Sebastian or know where he may be, you're asked to call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI. Blake.
Thanks. Sebastian Rogers has been missing for more than 2 weeks, and right now officials have no leads in the case. Thank you for joining us for News 2 at 4. I'm Mark Kelly. So while the Sumner County community continues to wait for answers, they're doing what they can to help. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry spoke with some of the residents who are keeping Sebastian front of mind through flyers.
Driving through Sumner County, cars pass by cardboard signs, and people walk by printed signs of Sebastian Rogers as the search continues for now the second week. After almost a full week of exhaustive search efforts in air, water, and land by mounted patrols, canine units, and ATVs, authorities moved the search to an investigation. At last update, investigators searched a Kentucky landfill, but it did not give them any additional clues as to what happened to Sebastian. Now, Sumner County residents are just doing what they can by printing and posting flyers from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
We took it upon ourselves to take a picture of it, display it on my Facebook page. We've encouraged people to just spread it, through social media. We've seen it at local businesses here in District 18, as well as outside of this district in Gallatin and Hendersonville.
County Commissioner Don Schmidt from District 18 says the goal of the flyers being posted throughout the county is to remind people to continue searching their property every morning and night.
We want to keep it fresh in everyone's minds. We don't want Sebastian to take a back seat. We don't want him just to, fall out of our memory or minds, to, just get everyone to stay vigilant, continue looking in the hiding spots, even as redundant as it sounds.
And as people drive by a now quiet search headquarters, the conversations and thoughts surrounding Sebastian Rogers remain relevant throughout the community, especially in places like local businesses.
Some lady wasn't even aware that this was happening, and I can't imagine having a son missing or having a brother missing or anything like that. And so it's so important that we are raising awareness because it is a missing person and we just want him to come home safe. So I really think it's amazing that we're doing everything we can to put flyers up everywhere.
In Sumner County, Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
And News 2 is also staying on top of the ongoing efforts to find a missing Sumner County teen more than 2 weeks since he disappeared from his home. The search began February 26th after the TBI issued an endangered child alert for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Now, he was last seen earlier in the day near Stafford Court in Hendersonville. That alert was later upgraded to an Amber Alert. Later that week, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office announced a $3,500 reward for information leading to Rogers. Now, after 1 week of searches by land, air, and water, authorities announced they were scaling back the ground search for Rogers and transitioning into an investigation. Well, Sumner County Deputy Chief Eric Craddock said this did not mean they were giving up hope.
This does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from the ground search to the investigative side. We are still committed to finding Sebastian and bringing him home safe. We have no leads, no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive.
Now, last Thursday, the search crossed state lines into Kentucky, where investigators searched a landfill in Hopkins County. Officials called it a precautionary measure, saying that landfill is where trash from Rogers' neighborhood goes, but nothing ended up turning up. Now, there have been several vigils for the missing teen since his disappearance. Over the weekend, community members wore green to honor Rogers and his family. For a closer look at the timeline in the search for Rogers, just head to our website, WKRN.com. And anyone with information, you are asked to call 1-800-TBI-FIND.
A Wilson County woman is hand-making flyers for missing teen Sebastian Rogers, and she's doing it while on the move. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry spoke with the woman who is trying to help in this continued search for Sebastian.
This is an updated photo of Sebastian. It shows him much better. We're making new flyers with this photo over it.
It has been 18 days since the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers began. Authorities searched water, land, and air nonstop with no leads. That search, now scaled back, shifted into an investigation. From the beginning, a Facebook group called Finding Sebastian Rogers has kept community members informed. And one member of the group, Shauna Benura, says she wants to make sure the flyers hung up in Wilson and Sumner County are up to date, with the number of days missing, the latest information, and his description.
So that people know this child has not been found. We are still looking for him. And just to keep that public pressure of if you see something, say something.
To hand make and distribute these flyers, Shauna works mobily from her car, a coffee shop, or wherever she is when she has a free moment.
I get somewhere where I can kind of set up my mobile command area.
Replacing the black and white photos of Sebastian, Shauna chose a colored picture of the teen and begins by cutting out the photo, pasting it on the flyer from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and writes in the latest number of days Sebastian has been missing.
I'll just go ahead and put 18 right here. We use different color markers to just bring attention, so it's not just that standard document print looking.
Shauna then locates any high traffic locations without a flyer on their door or window and begins to make the rounds from store to store. She's made 500 flyers so far and updates 50 flyers each day. In Lebanon.
What we do know is that Sebastian is physically out there somewhere, and everybody needs to continue to remain and stay vigilant and vigilant in their searches.
Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
New information from the TBI in the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. The TBI says multiple agencies are still closely investigating what happened to the Sumner County teen. Officials say he vanished from his Hendersonville home in late February. The TBI maintains there is no indication of any criminal action in the case. But at the same time, there isn't proof of the opposite either. The agency says it has few clues and is asking people in the area to keep searching their property. Maintains there is no indication of any criminal action in the case. But at the same time, there isn't proof of the opposite either. The agency says it has few clues and is asking people in the area to keep searching their property.
Happening today, the Clarksville community will hold a prayer vigil for Sebastian Rogers. They're asking everyone to wear green, Sebastian's favorite color, as they gather to pray for Sebastian's safe return to his loved ones. So this will be held at Sleepy Hollow Farm in Clarksville. Any additional parking will be in the East Montgomery Elementary School parking lot. Tonight's vigil will start at 6:30.
The search is still on for a missing Sumner County teenager who disappeared from his home February 26. First responders have searched about 2,000 miles for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. The TBI is releasing some details on the case. They say right now there's no proof of any criminal element or foul play, but they haven't ruled it out either. Investigators also say video surveillance from homes and businesses have turned up empty. But they are investigating tips and leads every day, interviewing and re-interviewing people while going over evidence again.
As the search for Riley Strain ends, another family in Sumner County is still left without answers.
15-year-old Sebastian Rogers has been missing for almost 5 weeks. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry spoke with community members about the call for more resources and outside support. Caitlin.
The Sumner County community is still asking where Sebastian Rogers is as the search for missing college student Riley Strain ends, but residents in the area tell me they have not forgotten him. Prayer vigils are held for the teen almost every week. Drivers in the area drive by posters along the street and flyers greet them at every door or window. Even organized search parties by concerned community members and Sebastian's biological dad remain constant, but many residents in the area say it's time to ramp up the search efforts again. And Sumner County Commissioner Don Schmidt says Sebastian's story needs to be told in every city and state. A TikToker with 92,000 followers took to social media calling for the help of the United Cajun Navy currently in Nashville. She tells me she watched them search for Strain and believes they could help find Sebastian Rogers.
I was like, hey, don't leave. Over here, you know what I mean? Like the flag. And
I think we need to really expand the news coverage. The local news are doing a great job, but I think we get this nationwide that other people in other states are seeing this because honestly, people's worst fears are really starting to ramp up now.
In a statement from Sebastian's mother, Katie Proudfoot, she said, quote, "We pray that everyone continues to help search and pray that we find him and bring him home safe. The pain of our son's absence is beyond words." If you know anything, call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen or TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Bob and Haley?
And before we go this morning, let's get you up to speed on a few top stories. The search for Riley Strain comes to a heartbreaking end. Another family in Sumner County is still searching for answers. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers has been missing for almost 5 weeks now. As of this morning, we're learning the United Cajun Navy is helping in the search for Sebastian. They have a search team with canines in Sumner County. We're working to learn more about their search efforts and where they will be focused moving forward. And
Commander with the United Cajun Navy. And I just wanted to take a few minutes and thank a whole bunch of local people, local businesses, and some out-of-town people and organizations that were so instrumental in helping with this Riley Strain missing persons investigation. And these are some folks some who have been recognized and some who haven't, but I think that they all need to have some recognition. Dina Ivey from the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation, who helped us with some accommodations. The Town Place Suites in downtown Nashville. The Sonesta Nashville Airport. There's a Chick-fil-A who fed a whole bunch of our volunteers this year, and she's still my daughter. If she went missing, I'd want everybody to do what everybody did. We show up to help in an investigation, and we're kind of like the redheaded stepchild. Today on Facebook, it was a picture of a little panda bear trying to crawl up on this beam that was this direction, and he was kind of, shatters your heart. You know, I've lost a dog. I mean, I personally am going to be leaving to head back home tomorrow morning, while I still have a home to head to. And we do have some assets on the ground here locally. There's a missing child case, Sebastian Rogers, which I'm sure pretty much everybody is aware of right now. I can say very, very little about that because it is an active situation right now, but we do have some assets on the ground there. Sebastian's father reached out to us and asked for help, and so we're going to try to help up there as much as we can. If there's more information that can come out later on, I certainly will let you all know, but that's kind of all I can speak to at this point.
Are you able to say like how many people, assets, or kind of what types of assets at least are out there?
No, sorry.
One request that I asked kind of before, but you know, what do you guys think you can bring to this investigation?
Well, you know, once again, like I said, we're nobody special. You know, we're just people helping people. We have a lot of different skill sets and a lot of different areas, and I think our biggest thing is our dedication. You know, we don't have any ulterior motive or any agenda of our own. We're not out there for self-glorification. We're not out there to make money on any of this stuff. We're just out there to help people. And, you know, whether that's going to be something that we can add to the mix that somebody else can't, I can't really say. You know, we just want to help whatever way we can.
Mm-hmm.
So Sebastian's father contacting you, is that how the Cajun Navy got involved? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And have you spoken with the mother and stepfather?
I have not, no.
They ask you, you're wrapping up here, you've solved one missing person or helped aid in that, and now you're leaving behind kind of another case. What would you like to see in the Sebastian Rogers case? And I guess going back to your point about the importance of not forgetting about these missing people.
Right. Well, obviously, we'd like to see, first and foremost, we'd like to see Sebastian found safe and sound. That's, I think, everybody's hope, and that's always our hope, is to find, regardless of what the evidence and circumstances might point to the contrary, our hope, and we always hold on to that hope until we find out we can't anymore, that person will be found safe and sound, returned to their family. So that's always our hope.
And are you asking for more volunteers here with this in the same?
On the Sebastian case, not at this time. No, if it comes to a point where we think we will need some additional volunteers, we certainly will reach out to media. We'll put it on social media. Usually, the best source of information for anything that we're involved in is our Facebook page. Yep.
Can you say anything about maybe what areas are being searched for Sebastian?
I'm sorry, I can't speak to that.
Okay. How long will the Cajun Navy resources be in town for Sebastian, or can you?
I can't speak to that right now either. It's going to be largely dependent on the direction that the investigation takes.
Okay. Can't say what the search entailed today, or if you'll be searching tomorrow?
I'm sorry, I've said all I can.
Fair enough.
I don't want to be, rude to you, but I've said all I can at this point, yes.
Anything else we should have asked, or anything else you'd like to add?
Well, and this is all I can say about it at this point. We are about to get involved in another missing person case. That's all I can tell you right now. I have not spoken with the family yet, and so unless and until I do, that's all I can say. So hopefully tomorrow we'll have some more information about that.
Is that here locally?
I can't say.
Thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you. And once again, thank you to everybody.
Well, Riley Strange's family can now return to Missouri with their son and with some closure. But for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers' family, the waiting goes on.
The Hendersonville teen has been missing for almost 5 weeks, and now the community wants to see more resources in that search. Here's News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry.
I'm calling on the Army, and I thought the resources are here.
A mom and TikToker with 92,000 followers took to social media calling for the help of the United Cajun Navy, currently in Nashville, as the search for Riley Strain ends. She tells me she watched them search for Strain and believes they could help find Sebastian Rogers after he disappeared in Sumner County.
Don't leave. Y'all come over here to Hendersonville. It's just 20 minutes down the road.
In speaking with Sumner County Commissioner Don Schmidt, he tells me the community has not forgotten Sebastian. Instead, he has seen multiple prayer vigils, posters and flyers, and organized search parties. But he says Sebastian's story needs to be told outside of Middle Tennessee.
We're sending emails hoping that somebody like Dan Abrams or Chris Cuomo, Banfield, any one of those on News Nation hear this. Because, I know, they could reach a lot of people, a lot of audience.
Helping in the search efforts in partnership with TBI is EquiSearch, a nonprofit organization that provides search and recovery services through drone technology.
We can run those images through the locate program, and it'll tell us, if there's something out there that we need to go check. At that point, we'll give those coordinates to law enforcement, and they'll send their agencies out to check it.
She also tells me they have been actively working with law enforcement and family and will be back out again to assist in a couple of weeks.
That was Caitlin Quisenberry reporting. Sebastian's mother, Katie, sent us a statement saying they are praying that they can bring their son home safe. She goes on to say the pain of his absence is, quote, beyond words. We reached out to the United Cajun Navy for comment, but we have not heard back.
All right, we turn now to the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. It continues nearly a month after he went missing. You may remember this is the young man with autism who went missing from his home in Hendersonville near Long Hollow Pike. After scaling back search efforts, a new crew of volunteers are back on the ground hoping to get things started again. Jaxie Pigeon joining us now to break down their new efforts.
Well, Blake, with the body of 22-year-old Riley Strain being recovered from the Cumberland River, the United Cajun Navy says they are now shifting their search efforts about 25 miles away to Sumner County in hopes of locating Sebastian Rogers. The Volunteer Disaster Response Organization tells us Sebastian's father, Seth, asked them to assist in finding his son. They've since deployed a search team with canines in the area. This comes as local crews scaled back a once massive search for Sebastian. In a recent statement, the TBI says, quote, "We have not forgotten about Sebastian. Much of the work currently being done to bring Sebastian home may not necessarily be public or visible." David Flagg with the United Cajun Navy says because this is an active investigation, he cannot give many details. However, he assured folks they do have assets on the ground and they are going to try to help out as much as they can.
First and foremost, we'd like to see Sebastian found safe and sound. You know, that's, I think, everybody's hope, and that's always our hope, is to find, you know, regardless of what the evidence and circumstances might point to the contrary, our hope, and we always hold on to that hope until we find out we can't anymore, that person will be found safe and sound, returned to their family.
Now, the United Cajun Navy tells us they are not looking for any volunteers at this time. However, if you do have any information, you're asked to reach out to them or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Blake?
All right, thanks so much, Jaxie. Certainly holding on to hope in this case. We're keeping up with the very latest developments surrounding both of these cases. You'll find our latest coverage online at WKRN.com.
Tomorrow marks 4 weeks since 15-year-old Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers was reported missing. Now, new efforts are underway to help find him. News 2's Nikki McGee has what we know as investigators approach the 1-month mark in the search.
As the search for missing University of Missouri student Riley Strain comes to an end, another major Middle Tennessee mystery remains: the whereabouts of 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers.
Sebastian's father reached out to us and asked for help, and so we're going to try to help up there as much as we can.
Now, some of those who assisted in the search for Riley are putting their best foot forward to help bring Sebastian home. The United Cajun Navy couldn't elaborate on exactly where they're sending search crews. However, on Sunday, members tell News 2 they have drones and canines assisting.
I just want to find my son.
Just ahead of the weekend, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, told News 2 about his efforts, including passing out flyers in Nashville and following up on a tip in Henderson, Tennessee.
All I know is that he has disappeared out of his mama's house, and it's my job to find him and bring him home.
Also working towards that goal, EquiSearch Midwest, searching both the ground and by drone. Coordinator Twyla Cisco sharing this message from Sebastian's mother 2 weeks ago.
The pain of our son's absence is beyond words. We ask that everyone everywhere remain aware and continue to look for anything that can help us find Sebastian, and pray we bring him home.
From a more than 2,000-mile ground search in the days after his disappearance to looking at a Kentucky landfill earlier this month, signs like these encourage the community not to give up hope.
First and foremost, we'd like to see Sebastian found safe and sound. You know, that's, I think, everybody's hope, and that's always our hope.
As the 5th week of searching for Sebastian begins, the United Cajun Navy hopes a fresh set of eyes just might make all the difference.
We're just people helping people. We have a lot of different skill sets and a lot of different areas, and I think our biggest thing is our dedication.
It's been 1 month since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen at his home in Hendersonville, and this morning the search for him continues. Jaxie Pigeon joins us now with the latest on these search efforts.
Well, Nikki, after scaling back efforts, a group of volunteers is teaming up with local law enforcement in hopes of locating Sebastian Rogers. The United Cajun Navy is a disaster response organization. The crew was already in Middle Tennessee to help search for University of Missouri student Riley Strain. But with Riley's body being recovered from the Cumberland on Friday, they are using their resources in Sumner County for Sebastian Rogers' case. In a recent statement, Sebastian's father, Seth, said the United Cajun Navy is leading the search for his son, saying, quote, "I need you to respectfully keep your distance and do not interfere with their search efforts, their dogs, their vehicles, and their search areas." He went on to say, quote, "The United Cajun Navy is taking the burden off of my shoulders. Please allow them the ability to complete their task professionally." So far, the organization has deployed drones and canines in the area. And although many in the community want to join in on the search, the United Cajun Navy says they are not asking for any volunteers at this time.
I can say very, very little about that because it is an active situation right now, but we do have some assets on the ground there. Sebastian's father reached out to us and asked for help, and so we're going to try to help up there as much as we can.
And if you have any information in the search for Sebastian, you're asked to call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Nicole?
Thank you. New this morning, an update to the search efforts for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers, who was last seen in Hendersonville 1 month ago. The United Cajun Navy is now asking for volunteers. Jaxie Pigeon joins us now with how the nonprofit is dedicating their resources to this case and how you can help out. Jack.
Well, Nicole, after seeing several people searching throughout Sumner County without any set plan, the United Cajun Navy is asking folks to hold off for a day while they gather a more unified and organized course of action. As of right now, the disaster response nonprofit is working independently of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They say Sebastian's father, Seth, asked for their help. The group explains that while having extra sets of eyes is beneficial, some of the community searches were crossing onto private and federally restricted property without permission, causing safety concerns. So far, the organization has deployed drones and canines in the area. Today, they'll have a small group of search dogs out to narrow down a space in question from Saturday. Chloe, a local private investigator aiding the Rogers in Sebastian's case, tells News 2, quote, Seth has been searching every single day for his son. I'm hopeful this support to Seth will bring us closer to finding Sebastian. Sumner County Commissioner Don Schmidt is asking everyone to please stay vigilant and most of all be respectful of what local law enforcement is saying.
Keep Sebastian in your mind, don't let Sebastian, take a back seat. Keep it forefront, front and center. Because this is a kid and we have to keep this, effort going. We cannot let this go cold.
And the United Cajun Navy tells us that anyone who has been or wants to be involved in the search for Sebastian, message them directly. If you do have any information on this case, you're asked to contact the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI. Nicole?
1 month of no answers for the family of Sebastian Rogers. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilkes. The 15-year-old disappeared from his Hendersonville home 1 month ago today. And now a volunteer group is helping in the search. The United Cajun Navy arrived over the weekend.
News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry explains how you can help the search team and what's happening with the investigation into Sebastian's disappearance.
Today marks 1 month since Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers disappeared from the beach area of Hendersonville. After a week of searching with drones, canines, and agencies from all over Middle Tennessee, the search was scaled back with no investigative leads. Now, with Missouri college student Riley Strain's body recovered, the community of Sumner County called for the people who looked for him to search for Sebastian.
We're at a point where we need some fresh eyes. We need some fresh resources. When the Cajun Navy stepped in, a lot of people were, yay, because a lot of people wanted that. But a lot of people were like, well, y'all not coming up here getting in our way. You know what I mean? So when they come into town, it was so emotional for them to step in.
TikToker Heather Abbott has over 93,000 followers and tells me when she posted a video requesting the help of the United Cajun Navy to take over Sebastian's search efforts, it was a cry of desperation. And now that they are here, she says she feels confident in their recovery efforts.
They come to help. They come to save the day, girl. That's what they're going to try to do.
According to a Facebook post from the UCN, they brought in search dogs and plan to bring in more. People wanting to help search are asked to wait 24 hours to allow them to create an organized grid plan and get proper permissions to access federal government properties. In the meantime, people wanting to help are asked to bring bottled water and snacks, as well as 93-octane non-ethanol gasoline for their search boats. A representative with the UCN tells me they will speak with Sebastian's biological father today about possible search locations.
They've dealt with these cases before, so they know how to deal with this. Just give them a shot. Just stand down. I know a lot of people are fighting. Sebastian is loved.
I reached out to TBI for comment. They say they do not have any new information, but are reminding people to check their property and call the TBI tip line with any information. As of Friday, they have received more than 240 tips. You can find the TBI tip line and a link to sign up to volunteer with the UNC on our website, WKRN.com.
Today marks 1 month since the search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers began. The team was reported missing from his home in Hendersonville. He hasn't been seen since. Jaxie Pigeon is live now with how people are pitching in to help find Sebastian.
Well, Nikki, for the first 2.5 weeks, first responders searched about 2,000 miles trying to locate Sebastian, but they found no sign of him. Now, that's when they decided to scale back those efforts, but the TBI emphasized that does not mean they're giving up on the Sumner County teen. They say much of the work currently being done to bring him home may not necessarily be public or visible. There is still an active Amber Alert for Sebastian, who has autism. The United Cajun Navy has since deployed resources in Sumner County to help locate Sebastian. As of right now, the disaster response organization is working independently of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They used Monday to form a game plan where people in the community could participate in that search. Any volunteers can visit the United Cajun Navy's search headquarters at 90 Volunteer Drive at 10 o'clock this morning for a safety briefing. That is in Hendersonville. You can help them out by bringing water bottles, sports drinks, and snacks. Now, Sumner County Commissioner Don Schmidt spoke out during last night's commission meeting. He emphasizes the importance of not letting Sebastian's case fall through the cracks.
I think a lot of us thought, well, he just wandered off. You know, he's going to come back. So I made some notes because I'll be honest with you, this is like really, it's tugged on my heartstrings. I mean, I lost sleep over it because I have a son that's the same age as Sebastian. Our law enforcement from the Sheriff's Department has done a great job. I went to the command center. They want Sebastian found probably more than parents at some, if that makes sense. They're invested in this. Our law enforcement from the Sheriff's Department has done a great job. I went to the command center. They want Sebastian found probably more than parents at some, if that makes sense. They're invested in this.
Now, we reached out to the TBI for comment. They say they have no update at this time. However, they encourage everyone to keep checking their surveillance cameras and their properties for any evidence of Sebastian Rogers.
The search for missing Sumner County teenager Sebastian Rogers continues with volunteers teaming up with the United Cajun Navy.
News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry spoke with Sebastian's biological father.
I feel like I'm carrying the world, and all of a sudden I got somebody standing behind me, helping me hold that up.
Seth Rogers, Sebastian's biological dad, tells me he has been searching for his son since the first day Sebastian was reported missing from his home in the beach area. And he says now there are more resources looking for Sebastian with the United Cajun Navy here following the conclusion of the Riley Strain search.
Normally we wouldn't deploy twice in the same area, but the outpouring was just so strong for us to stay and look for Sebastian. We said, you know what, since we're here, let's do it.
The UCN is working independently from law enforcement and joined search efforts on Saturday. Today was the first day volunteers were encouraged to help in the ongoing search.
There's really a lack of answers, and the truth is nobody knows where he is, and I see his family hurting, and I see a community trying to rally together around this boy.
But the turnout, volunteers say, was not enough. With criticism online, Seth says the drama on the internet has deterred some people from helping, and he says it needs to stop.
People need to stop their ego. Just because you pick up a phone and start recording, you can either help with that or you can hinder. I am asking the world to help me find my son. I need my son back.
The handful of volunteers that did show spent the morning searching their assigned grid plan. Officials with the United Cajun Navy tell me due to a shortage of volunteers, they ended the searches around 3. But the search will continue tomorrow at 90 Volunteer Drive, and the only thing they need is people. As the search continues, for now, Seth is just clinging on to the memories and conversations he shared with Sebastian.
He's a teenager. He's 15. I understand. Oh, Dad, no, you're old. Okay, I'm old. I'm still your dad. You still have to deal with it. You may not want me here now, but you're going to need me later, and I'm going to be there for him.
Like you are right now.
Right now, I'm there for him.
In Sumner County, Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
Citing security concerns, the United Cajun Navy is temporarily calling off their search for Sebastian Rogers. Good evening and welcome to News 2 now at 10. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilkes. The nonprofit organization joined the search for the teen missing out of Hendersonville last weekend. But as News 2's Sarah Smith reports, the group says the search has now become too dangerous.
The volunteer group United Cajun Navy reportedly getting death threats for their efforts in finding Sebastian Rogers. Sumner County Commissioner Don Schmidt shares his concerns.
I did receive a phone call from Skip Butler a couple of days ago, and he had reached out to me. And as soon as he told me that, that he was getting death threats and they were, fearing for their safety, I said, you need to call law enforcement right away.
It's unclear who the threats are coming from. United Cajun Navy says they plan to start the search back up, but in private, adding that they don't want certain groups or personalities getting in the way. The group also taking to their Facebook page to share this post, writing anyone that impedes on their search will be a person of interest.
Now, I understand people are, speculating, and I get it. That's just the nature of our society, especially when it comes to social media. But, I would like to see that energy from speculating diverted to finding Sebastian.
The sheriff's office says they'll give an update on Sebastian's disappearance Tuesday. Schmidt says check with deputies before searching on your own.
I'm concerned of the welfare and the safety of our citizens out there searching. If they search on properties that they just don't have permission to search, or if they just, disturb anything or contaminate anything, those are the biggest fears.
1 month later, this community hopeful Sebastian is alive. His story even catching the attention of people across state lines.
Gosh forbid he wasn't here, that, other states are aware of his missing and are continuing to share the flyers.
In Hendersonville, Sarah Smith, News 2.
These mushrooms make you feel better. Like a lot better.
Well, a former volunteer for the United Cajun Navy is now stepping in to help coordinate search efforts for Sebastian Rogers. The 15-year-old has been missing out of Hendersonville for over a month now. Jaxie Pigeon joining us now with the very latest on search efforts this morning. Jaxie?
Well, Blake, a local private investigator aiding the Rogers in Sebastian's case named Chloe announced on social media that a Tennessee native named Brandon has agreed to help coordinate grid searches for Sebastian Rogers. Chloe says the rudder at Anchor High Marina in Hendersonville has allowed them to use their parking lot as a command center until search efforts are over and the teen is found. The seafood restaurant is located off Rockland Road and River Road, and folks can meet there to help out anytime from 9:30 this morning to 6 o'clock this evening. They will have a sign-up sheet for safety reasons. All they'll need is a name and a phone number. They'll also have flyers on hand for anyone who wants to distribute them around town. Now, Chloe says this information does only go for today. There will be no searches on Sunday due to Easter. Allie?
And I'm the Chief Deputy at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. I'll be joined today by Susan Nyland, SUSAN NILAND, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. She's the PIO. I also have with me Sumner County Emergency Management Director Ken Widener, KenWeidner. You guys ready? All right. Morning. I'm Eric Craddock with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and we're going to come to you today with an update on the Sebastian Rogers case. Sebastian has been missing since late February. Tip that comes in. As I said before, the investigation remains ongoing. The entire community is deeply saddened by what has occurred. We're all extremely concerned for Sebastian's welfare. I want to encourage the community to stay vigilant, to report anything that they think may be of some significance to the investigation, no matter how minute it may appear to be to you. Please call 1-800-TBI-FIND with any tips, or the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838. We understand the anxiety and the concern that this case has caused in the community. We too share the anxiety and concern for Sebastian. I want to reiterate that we are doing everything we can to find Sebastian and bring him home. Despite the passage of time, the commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering. I said this when we scaled the search back. Our commitment to finding Sebastian remains. We will continue to investigate every possible lead that comes in. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office wants to express our gratitude to the community and the many individuals who have helped in the search, the many individuals who have called in tips, the many individuals who have printed flyers and kept Sebastian's face in the news. Nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home. At this time, I'll turn it over to Susan Allen from the TBI.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. We know how invested everybody is in the search for Sebastian, in finding out what happened to him and bringing him home. And we want to let everybody know he has not been forgotten. Nobody's forgotten about him. Nobody has given up looking for him. At the beginning of this investigation, there was a large land search for him. It was very visible. There were also waterways, lakes, ponds that were searched. There were aerial searches with helicopters and drones and fixed wing planes. They were done at night. They were done on weekends. They were done during the day. That was very visible, and it was something everybody was able to see. But we want to let you know that even though there is not that high visibility in investigating this case, that we are not done. It's gone back to what could be considered good old-fashioned police work. Interviewing individuals, re-interviewing individuals, checking out leads, rechecking leads. We have been working with other law enforcement agencies who have had, in other jurisdictions, who have perhaps had some complex cases of their own that they have worked on to get tips from them. We have had, this day of technology with everyone having cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and surveillance cameras. That, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again. We have had other agencies involved. The FBI has been helpful in that. Secret Service has also been helpful in that. So we are just trying to do whatever we can to advance the investigation. It has not gone to a place where anybody has forgotten about him or is not pursuing this. The parents have been cooperative throughout. At the beginning of the investigation, they have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now, so we are pursuing any and all avenues. We do want to caution there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that is not the case. Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate, incomplete.
There are those who skip dessert, but when Ghirardelli chocolate chips make cookies this irresistible,
distraction, because a lot of what has been out there in some of the social media channels has been rumors and speculations and theories, and some of that has been advanced and people have caught a hold of it as if it's what's really happening. That has resulted in us getting information that is either, like I said, distracting. It's taking away time and effort from what the agencies need to be doing as far as looking for Sebastian. We have had so far, as of this morning, 314 tips that have come in through the tip line. It's been mentioned, but I'll say it again. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND. We are also taking tips through email, which is tips to TBI, TBI, at tbi.tn.gov. What's next? We want people, as Chief Deputy said, to continue to remain vigilant, get Sebastian's picture out there, continue to share his picture, his information. Now that it's getting to be nicer, well, not today with the weather, but now that the weather has turned warmer, people may be more inclined to be in their yards. If you go out and see anything that looks different, let us know. Something where perhaps a teenager could have hidden. If you have a large amount of property in the area or something that has any kind of holes or unstable footing or ledges where, again, where a teen could have gone to hide or to play, and you don't feel comfortable checking it out, let us know. We'll get somebody from law enforcement to go out there with you or to check it out themselves. We just want to make sure that every stone is unturned, that there's no stone left unturned, that we want people to make sure that we are looking everywhere we can. We do want to continue to get the tips, but please make it, don't provide information that you might have seen through social media channels. If you have information about Sebastian, about conversations you might have had with him, things he likes to do, places he likes to go, any people he may have mentioned that are in his life, that could be helpful in finding out maybe what he was interested in. Finally, we want to thank the community. We want to thank the media. You guys have been really good about keeping his name in the public's eye. That's really important. And thank you for your diligence in providing that information out there. And as Chief Deputy said, we also want to thank the community. From the very first day, everybody has really been all in as far as whatever they can do to help in the search, to help pass information on, providing water for the teams that were out conducting the ground searches. So thank you again to everybody. I'm going to pass it back to Eric Credit.
The weather is rolling in. We've got time for some questions, so yes, ma'am. There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out?
We're not ruling anything out.
So 5 weeks, and you guys covered so much ground. Searching, going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed. Not a trace of Sebastian anywhere, nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can to find Sebastian.
Share any of those?
No, sir.
2 questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom's and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is them moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned when you were asked about recent evidence, we've heard some rumors that there seemed to have some validity, that there was glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian's?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun
to that
foul play or anything of that nature?
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out?
We're not ruling anything out.
So 5 weeks, and you guys covered so much ground. Searching, going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed. Not a trace of Sebastian anywhere, nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can to find Sebastian.
Share any of those?
No, sir.
2 questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom's and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is them moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly possibly the avenues of communication?
No, sir. No, sir.
Two questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom's and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is them moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned when you were asked about recent evidence, we've heard some rumors that received has some validity, that there was glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian's?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun Navy, have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or separate teams?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that has been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
They claim they've received threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports with the Sheriff's Department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
Where does the search go from here? It's been 5 weeks. There's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive? And what are you guys going to continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive, yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're going to continue to work to find Sebastian.
Have the stories been changing at all? Have you been talking with people, interviewing them for a second time possibly?
There is no evidence to support foul play.
Are there any active current leads that you guys are pursuing?
We have tipped.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
Where does the search go from here? It's been 5 weeks. There's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive? And what are you guys going to continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive, yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're going to continue to work to find Sebastian.
Have the stories been changing at all? Have you been talking with people, interviewing them for a second time possibly?
There is no evidence to support foul play.
Are there any active current leads that you guys are pursuing?
We have tips called in daily.
Any of those tips seem legitimate enough to expand law enforcement resources?
Regardless of their legitimacy, we're going to follow up on them.
Will there be any other agencies pulled in to help in the search efforts for this case?
I'm certain there will be.
You met with the biological father and mother this past week. Is that at their request, your request? Is that just re-interviewing them again?
That was at the request of law enforcement. It's not uncommon to talk to the family in investigations like this. I've got time for one more question.
Just overall, how has this investigation impacted the world?
What are you guys going to continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive, yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're going to continue to work to find Sebastian.
Have the stories been changing at all? Have you been talking with people, interviewing them for a second time possibly?
There is no evidence to support foul play.
Are there any active current leads that you guys are pursuing?
We have tips called in daily.
Any of those tips seem legitimate enough to expand law enforcement resources?
Regardless of their legitimacy, we're going to follow up on them.
Will there be any other agencies pulled in to help in the search efforts for this case?
I'm certain there will be.
You met with the biological father and mother this past week. Is that at their request, your request? Is that just re-interviewing them again?
That was at the request of law enforcement. It's not uncommon to talk to the family in investigations like this. I've got time for one more question.
Just overall, how has this investigation impacted the morale at your department, especially with all the scrutiny coming online?
Let me put it to you like this. If my kid was missing, this is the team I'd want on it. The men and women of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service, everyone who's had a hand in this case is doing everything they can to find Sebastian. Morale's high. We are here and we are dedicated. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for keeping Sebastian in the public. Please continue to publicize this photo. Thank you all.
We're calling a breaking news alert now. Investigators just gave an update in the search for Sebastian Rogers. Allie Lynch is at the WKRN.com alert desk with the details.
Monica, that news conference just wrapped up. The newest piece of information we learned from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office is that they're now investigating eyeglasses that were recently found. So it's now been over a month since the teen went missing from his home off Stafford Court in Hendersonville. The Sheriff's Office continues to stress that they are doing everything they can to find Sebastian and bring him home. Officials say they are investigating every possible lead that comes in. As of this morning, they've received 314 tips since the day Sebastian went missing.
We want to let everybody know he has not been forgotten. Nobody's forgotten about him. Nobody has given up looking for him. At the beginning of this investigation, there was a large land search for him. It was very visible. There were also waterways, lakes, ponds that were searched. There were aerial searches with helicopters and drones and fixed-wing planes. They were done at night. They were done on weekends. They were done during the day. That was very visible, and it was something everybody was able to see. But we want to let you know that even though there is not that high visibility in investigating this case, that we are not done.
So if you know anything in the search for Sebastian, you're asked to call 1-800-TBI-FINE. And for breaking news around the clock, you can go to WKRN.com.
15-year-old Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers has been missing for more than a month now. Today, investigators said they still don't know where Sebastian is, but they are following every lead and tip they get. Sebastian disappeared from his home in Hendersonville on February 26th. Since the search for him has garnered national attention, crossed state lines, and included hundreds of volunteers. News 2's Adam Mincer was at today's news conference with law enforcement, and he joins us now. Now, Adam, do investigators have any new evidence in this case?
Haley, none that we can definitively say is connected to Sebastian, but the Sumner County Chief Deputy did say they found a pair of glasses and are working to figure out if they're connected to Sebastian. Investigators also said they aren't ruling out anything in this case, and as they get in more tips, they're going back through old leads and re-interviewing people. When asked how his team is handling this high-profile case, Chief Deputy Eric Craddock said morale is high, and he's still hoping and praying Sebastian's alive.
If my kid was missing, this is the team I'd want on it. The men and women of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service, everyone who's had a hand in this case is doing everything they can to find Sebastian. Morale's high. We are here and we are dedicated.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigations says they have gotten more than 300 tips so far in this case, but are asking the public not to send in tips based solely on social media posts. And coming up on News 2 at 6, how officials responded to questions of whether the Sheriff's Office thinks there might be a criminal element to this case. Haley?
After a month of investigating, law enforcement says there is no evidence of anything criminal in the case of missing Hendersonville teen Sebastian Rogers. Rogers' parents reported the 15-year-old is missing on February 26th, and the TBI issued an Amber Alert the next day. Over the last 36 days, officials have searched hundreds of miles, but say they don't know where Sebastian is or what may have happened to him. News 2's Adam Mincer explains what investigators have said about the evidence in a briefing today. Adam.
Haley, law enforcement brought up the role Sebastian's parents have played in this investigation, saying there's, quote, no evidence to support foul play.
The parents have been cooperative throughout at the beginning of the investigation. They have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open.
The spokesperson for the TBI went on to say they still don't know what happened to Sebastian or where he is, so they're continuing to pursue all avenues. In total, they say they've gotten 314 tips in this investigation and are looking into each one, while also looking at old leads and re-interviewing people. The TBI says while you may not see a big search effort happening, the case is still a priority to them. Also of note, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office said they found a pair of glasses in the past 2 days, but are still working to figure out if they're connected to Sebastian. We have more information from today's news conference, as well as a timeline of Sebastian's disappearance on our website, WKRN.com.
So breaking news now in the search for Sebastian Rogers. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office just announced a new search is underway for the teenager who disappeared in late February. Allie Lynch has been following this story for us all morning.
Well, Nikki, good morning. Right now, law enforcement agencies are conducting another thorough search in the Long Hollow Pike area for Sebastian. However, the Sheriff's Office says despite exhaustive efforts, there are no new leads or evidence to indicate the search will be successful. The 15-year-old with autism disappeared on February 26th. After his parents told deputies he walked out of the house in the middle of the night. An Amber Alert was issued the very next day. The Sheriff's Office says they have received 314 tips in this investigation, and they're looking into each one. Officials say while there are not any visible search crews and drones, Sebastian's case remains a priority. When asked how his team is handling this high-profile case, Chief Deputy Eric Craddock said morale is high and they're doing everything they can to bring Sebastian home safely.
If my kid was missing, this is the team I'd want on it. The men and women of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, the FBI partners, the other local agencies, the Secret Service, everyone who's had a hand in this case is doing everything they can to find Sebastian. Morale's high. We are here and we are dedicated.
So Craddock also says they may have a potential new piece of evidence. He said in yesterday's news conference that they found a pair of eyeglasses in the past couple of days and are working to figure out if they're connected to Rogers. We do have a crew monitoring this morning's search, and we'll have a live update for you coming up at News 2 at 11.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well. Some might say
A massive search is underway in Sumner County. Multiple law enforcement spent the day searching the beach area in Hendersonville for missing teenager Sebastian Rogers. Now, Rogers has been missing for more than a month at this point, and despite hours of searching what is hundreds of miles, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office telling News 2 they have no idea where Sebastian is or what may have happened to him. But at a news conference yesterday, they also said there's no evidence of foul play or criminal activity. Now, News 2's Adam Mintzer is live from Sumner County where that renewed search is happening. And Adam, why are they searching this area yet again?
Mark, in a Facebook post earlier today, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office says They want to leave no stone left unturned in this investigation, but also said that they have no evidence that would lead them to believe that they would find anything in this renewed search. We just checked in with the sheriff's office, and they tell us that there is nothing that they found today so far that they are aware of. Now, this search has been conducted by multiple different agencies, as you said, more than a dozen by my count. They've searched Long Hollow Road up and down, including areas with creeks, wooded areas, neighborhoods, even behind the local high school. Now, in those dozens of agencies, we've seen ones big and small, from the FBI, TBI, Metro Police, smaller departments like the Lebanon Police and Fire Department, as well as the White House Police Department and NTSUs. Now, Mark, this is a 2-day search, so we're expecting renewed efforts back here tomorrow. Back to you.
And Adam, one question for you. What about that pair of glasses that Sumner County officials said they found in the past few days? What's the latest on that part of this investigation?
Mark, we heard today from Sumner County that those glasses are not connected to the Sebastian Rogers case, meaning that so far, in the more than a month that this investigation has been ongoing, we have not heard of any evidence or actionable or leads so far in this investigation. Reporting live in Sumner County, Adam Mintzer, News 2.
And the day after a news conference where officials did not provide much new information, the Sumner County Sheriff's Department and multiple other agencies are back on the ground today searching for missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Now, it has at this point been 5 weeks since that Sumner teenager was last seen, and still no sign of where he may be. So what do we know about today's renewed search efforts? Well, News 2's Adam Mintzer is outside the Sumner County Mobile Command Center with the very latest. Adam?
Mark, we're actually starting to see search crews come back to the Mobile Command Center, wrapping up the efforts for the day. We just checked in with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office to see if they found anything of note in today's efforts. We were told that so far they have not. Now, today's search was very reminiscent of earlier searches that we saw about a month ago when this investigation and the search for Sebastian Rogers began. They were searching many of the same areas that they did initially, and we saw dozens of agencies out here today, everyone from the FBI, TBI, for some of the larger departments and smaller ones as well, including the MTSU PD, Hendersonville PD as well, and the Lebanon Fire and Rescue Team, just to name a few of the more than a dozen. Now, we didn't expect much today because we saw a Facebook post earlier from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office announcing today's renewed efforts, where they said that they had no evidence or leads to indicate that they would find anything with this recanvassing, and we are now learning, as I said, that they have not. We are told that this was planned for about more than a week now, but actually, Mark, as you mentioned in that presser yesterday, they didn't mention this search effort. What we have continued to hear, though, from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office is that there is no evidence of foul play so far in this investigation. There's no criminal element to this investigation, but they do want to make sure they leave no stone unturned. Reporting live in Sumner County, Adam Mintzer, News 2.
Adam, thank you. News 2, we're going to have crews in Sumner County all day to bring you any sort of updates. You can see our previous coverage on the Sebastian Rogers search by going to WKRN.com.
Happening now, search crews are now arriving to join the second day of a renewed effort to find Sebastian Rogers. He was reported missing. He disappeared February 26 with no sign of him since. Peyton Kennedy is at the command post on Long Hollow Pike, and she has the update.
Yeah, and the parking lot here at the command post is steadily filling this morning. I would say there are about 24, maybe 30 vehicles that have arrived so far since about 6 a.m. A lot of these cars are unmarked, so it's unclear to me right now who exactly is arriving, but we know that this is being led by the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and they do tell me that despite the power in numbers here, they did not find anything yesterday and don't expect to find anything today. However, they are continuing this very extensive search. Now, this command post is a different location than previously, but it's very close by off of Long Hollow Pike, and that's the main road that feeds into the subdivision where Sebastian's mother and stepfather live. And we're told this renewed effort has been in the works
for several days. The chief deputy says that they have found no signs of foul play here, but they're also not leaving anything out. We've been told Sebastian's parents have been cooperative through the process, and the sheriff's office says they are committed to bringing Sebastian home safely. Again, he is 15 years old, 120 pounds, and wears glasses. Now, a pair of glasses were found a few days ago. However, officials confirmed that they do not belong to Sebastian. So if you have any information here, you are encouraged to once again call the sheriff's office or call 1-800-TBI-FIND. We'll be here all day for you, keeping you updated. Live from the command post in Hendersonville, Peyton Kennedy, News 2.
All right, so we'll stay there today once again and see if anything does come of it, even though you heard Peyton say they don't expect anything. You can see our previous coverage at WKRN.com.
The FBI, TBI, and a spread of Middle Tennessee agencies are back on the ground today searching for Sebastian Rogers. The 15-year-old was reported missing on February 26, and there have been no signs of him ever since. Peyton Kennedy live at the command post now near Long Hollow Pike in Hendersonville with what crews have been focused on today. Peyton.
And Nicole, when Sebastian was first reported missing, we saw extensive official search parties here on the ground, but with no sign of him. That scaled back on March 4th. Now on April 4th, we are back here once again for an on-the-ground official search party. So here's a look at those efforts from this morning. You really couldn't drive far along Long Hollow Pike without seeing a search party working through the fields and properties along the road, or without seeing a sign with information about Sebastian and the number to call if you have details on him or his whereabouts. Again, that number is 1-800-TBI-FIND. Now, the command post is behind Long Hollow Church. It's not far from where Sebastian's mother and stepfather live and where the teenager was reportedly last seen. Officials say that they are not ruling anything out in this investigation. This was originally announced as a 2-day search, but as to whether or not it will roll into a third day will depend on what they discover today, if anything. We'll be keeping you posted all afternoon live here in Hendersonville. For now, Peyton Kennedy, News 2.
And News 2 will be in Sumner County all day following the search for Sebastian. You can also see our previous coverage online at WKRN.com.
A renewed search for missing teen Sebastian Rogers now in its second day. Ground searches suddenly resumed in Sumner County yesterday after weeks focused on investigating leads.
News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry was at a search headquarters this afternoon and explains where the search stands now.
Back on the ground in Sumner County as the search for Sebastian Rogers restarts. Agencies from all over Middle Tennessee are back out again since the search was scaled back on March 4th to pursue investigative leads. In a statement, the sheriff's office said there were no new leads to indicate that the search would be fruitful, but they are committed to, quote, leaving no stone unturned. The TBI, FBI, Murfreesboro Police, Hendersonville SWAT, and several other agencies were seen walking along the rivers and woods next to Long Hollow Pike, the main road near Sebastian's home where he was last seen on February 26th, over a month ago. One volunteer searcher says hearing that search crews with EMA and Sumner County Sheriff's Office were back was a huge relief. But she will continue to search for Sebastian as well.
They're doing their search and we're doing ours and we're passing out flyers. We just need more people.
The United Cajun Navy, a volunteer search and rescue team, also attempted to help in the continued search efforts. Following the conclusion of the Riley Strand search, they pulled back their search efforts after less than a week of being in Sumner County, saying threats made their work too dangerous. Now, Sumner County Commissioner Don Schmidt, who oversees the district where Sebastian disappeared, says there is no room for online speculation and hate.
There are things that we're not privy to, information. It's not that, and I don't feel like as a citizen or a county commissioner that our law enforcement's hiding anything. But if they have information that could be sensitive, and I'm not saying they do, but if they do, we don't need to know that. Let them do the work that they're been trained to do.
Cheyenne and Dawn both tell me when it comes to the search for Sebastian Rogers, they are holding on to hope that Sebastian is somewhere waiting to be found.
Sebastian needs to be out there and he needs to be found.
I think we need to keep hope because you just never know. Let's just keep the faith.
The Sumner County Sheriff's Office and EMA declined to provide an update or comment about the search. There has been no word on whether the Sumner County Sheriff's Office will continue the search tomorrow. But if you want to hand out flyers and search, you can meet Sebastian's biological father, Seth, and other volunteers at the Rudder at 9:30 tomorrow.
Efforts to find a missing 15-year-old from Sumner County are not over. In fact, today, dozens of volunteers handed out flyers and searched the Cottontown community for the missing teenager. Sumner County deputies, TBI, and more gathering at the start of the week to renew their search efforts to find the missing teen. In fact, Sheriff Weatherford says after days of looking, they still don't have any new information, but still also not giving up hope. The United Cajun Navy has not returned to Sumner County ever since they received threats, and that was nearly 1 week ago.
Tonight, the Hendersonville community came together once again to pray for the safe return of Sebastian Rogers. Welcome to News 2 at 10. I'm Kimberly Hargett. Monday will mark 6 weeks since the 15-year-old went missing from Sumner County. News 2's Nikki McGee has more on those continuing to keep up hope, praying for Sebastian's safe return.
We are one, Lord God, and we believe and we decree and declare that Sebastian will come home safe and unharmed.
The search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers continues. Nearly 6 weeks later, community members came together for a prayer vigil Saturday, offering messages of unwavering hope.
You guys are Sebastian's army. We will find him. We will find him alive. We will find him well.
Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, thanking all those who have given up their time to help search for his son. Sebastian's grandparents also speaking out, coming all the way from Texas for a second time to help locate their grandbaby.
He loved to talk about plants with me. He loved to talk about animals with me. He loved to go fishing. And he would say, you know, Mima, that's our favorite sport, right?
Sebastian's family also had a strong message for anyone looking to benefit from their search efforts.
You're going to be out here doing what needs to be done to bring our grandson home.
We appreciate
it. But if you're out there just making money, stay away.
But throughout the investigation, strangers have become allies. Since the beginning of the search, Mary Strom and her son Jaden took a special interest and organized Saturday's prayer vigil.
By the fourth day, I really started to get involved. I went out searching on the fourth and fifth day, and ever since then, I've just been pretty vigilant with helping however I can.
In addition to searching alongside Sebastian's father, the two also continue to provide flyers to the community to help raise awareness.
I have children of my own, and it's hard to not see their faces when you look at his, and I think it's hard for every mom and dad here.
Saturday, they ended Sebastian's prayer vigil with handwritten messages to Sebastian, ones they plan to share with him upon his return.
We can't let this case get cold. It cannot get cold, and we will find him. And the more vigils and the more news presence and media coverage that we get, the more his face keeps out there, and maybe somebody will see something and they'll say something, and we'll get Sebastian home.
Now, tonight's event was held at the Rudder restaurant in Hendersonville. Strom and her son will leave flyers there for anyone who would like to help distribute them. And if you have any information on this case or Sebastian's whereabouts, you're asked to call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI right away. Kinley.
Thank you so much, Nikki.
The city of Hendersonville came together on Saturday ahead of the 6-week mark since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers went missing. The prayer vigil was held outside the Rudder. Karen Stram helped coordinate last night's event. She says she's been working with Sebastian's biological father throughout this search. She wanted this event to be focused on positivity instead of the divisiveness she's seen online. During the event, attendees wrote notes of support for Sebastian to read once he returns home.
So what we really hope to have come from it is more unity and less tension. I feel like tension is very high with all the different creators that are, sharing things on YouTube and TikTok. And we just really want to focus on what's important, and that is Sebastian.
Organizers encourage you to continue to pray for Sebastian's safe return home. Flyers will remain at the Rudder for people to come and pass out until Sebastian is found safe.
Tonight, the Hendersonville community came together once again to pray for the safe return of Sebastian Rogers. Welcome to News 2 at 10. I'm Kimberly Hargett. Monday will mark 6 weeks since the 15-year-old went missing from Sumner County. News 2's Nikki McGee has more on those continuing to keep up hope, praying for Sebastian's safe return.
We are one, Lord God, and we believe and we decree and declare that Sebastian will come home safe and unharmed.
The search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers continues. Nearly 6 weeks later, community members came together for a prayer vigil Saturday, offering messages of unwavering hope.
You guys are Sebastian's army. We will find him. We will find him alive. We will find him well.
Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, thanking all those who have given up their time to help search for his son. Sebastian's grandparents also speaking out, coming all the way from Texas for a second time to help locate their grandbaby.
He loved to talk about plants with me. He loved to talk about animals with me. He loved to go fishing. And he would say, you know, Mima, that's our favorite sport, right?
Sebastian's family also had a strong message for anyone looking to benefit from their search efforts.
You're going to be out here doing what needs to be done to bring our grandson home.
We
appreciate it. But if you're out there just making money, stay away.
But throughout the investigation, strangers have become allies. Since the beginning of the search, Karen Strom and her son Jaden took a special interest in the case and organized Saturday's prayer vigil.
By the 4th day, I really started to get involved. I went out searching on the 4th and 5th day, and ever since then, I've just been pretty vigilant with helping however I can.
In addition to searching alongside Sebastian's father, the two also continue to provide flyers to the community to help raise awareness.
I have children of my own, and it's hard to not see their faces when you look at his, and I think it's hard for every mom and dad here.
Saturday, they ended Sebastian's prayer vigil with handwritten messages to Sebastian, ones they plan to share with him upon his return.
We can't let this case get cold. It cannot get cold, and we will find him. And the more vigils and the more news presence and media coverage that we get, the more his face keeps out there, and maybe somebody will see something and they'll say something, and we'll get Sebastian home.
Now, tonight's event was held at the Rudder Restaurant in Hendersonville. Strom and her son will leave flyers there for anyone who would like to help distribute them. And if you have any information on this case or Sebastian's whereabouts, you're asked to call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or the TBI right away. Kinley.
Thank you so much, Nikki.
It's also been more than a month since anyone has seen 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. And while the TBI issued an Amber Alert immediately after he was reported missing, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has elevated his case to the national level. Rogers' case is among 2 active national Amber Alerts right now. Both Sebastian and 3-year-old Elijah View from Wisconsin have been missing since February. Elijah was reported missing only 6 days before Sebastian on February 20th. Now, there are still many questions surrounding Sebastian's case. The teen reportedly walked away from his Hendersonville home just after midnight on the 26th, and despite dozens of searches, there's been no sign of him. If you have any information that could lead investigators to either Sebastian or Elijah, reach out to police.
There is new information tonight in the months-long search for missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers.
The Sumner County teen was last seen at his Hendersonville home at the end of February. He's been missing ever since. News 2's Mai Owens is at the WKRN.com alert desk with these new details. Mai.
Well, Bob Haley, we have confirmed Sebastian Rogers' biological father has now hired 2 private investigators to look into his son's disappearance. Now, that's according to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. The sheriff told us he briefly met with the investigators this afternoon. They've reportedly interested in researching some of the areas around Sebastian's home. In the days immediately after Sebastian went missing, search crews covered miles and miles of land, but repeated searches didn't turn up any new leads. The search took investigators as far as a landfill in southern Kentucky, where the trash in Sebastian's neighborhood reportedly goes after it's picked up. That search also turned up nothing. Now, Sebastian's father, Seth, has launched searches himself, going as far as West Tennessee. He told us today he's doing everything he can to find his son. Haley.
It has been nearly 2 months since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers went missing in Sumner County. The teenager is still at the center of an Amber Alert. Sumner County Schools is making an effort to keep Sebastian on everyone's minds. So on Wednesday, April 24th, the district is encouraging the community to wear green, Sebastian's favorite color. The district says it's a symbol of hope and solidarity in their efforts to find him. Tomorrow, the community is also holding a vigil for Sebastian at Beach High School. It'll be held from 6 to 7 p.m.
It's been nearly 2 months since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers went missing in Sumner County. The teen's still the center of a nationwide Amber Alert. Sumner County Schools making an effort to keep his memory on everyone's mind. So on Wednesday, April 24th, the district is asking everyone to wear green, Sebastian's favorite color. The district says it's a symbol of hope and solidarity in their efforts to find him. Tomorrow, the community is also holding a vigil for Sebastian at Beach High School. It'll be held from 6 to 7.
Friday marks 2 months since anyone has seen 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. The community making sure that we are thinking about him and his return. The teenager, who is on the autism spectrum, is still at the center of this nationwide Amber Alert. 2 months of investigating has not yielded much, if anything. The Amber Alert issued the day after he was first reported missing. Days later, the search was scaled back. It moved up to a Kentucky landfill where the neighborhood trash is taken. Nearly a month after Sebastian went missing, his father joined in that search. Leads have gone cold, pushing people to now make sure no one does forget this child.
Enforcement has not, drawn any conclusions. So we need to keep hope up and keep praying for this young teen and his parents and his dad, that, he's going to be found. We just got to keep the faith.
There's really a lack of answers, and the truth is nobody knows where he is. And I see his family hurting, and I see a community trying to rally together around this boy.
So tonight, the community will gather to light the way for Sebastian to come home. Everyone's asked to join at the bridge on East Main Street in Hendersonville. It'll be at 7:30. The bridge will be lit up in Sebastian's favorite color, and that would be green. There will also be a 2-minute, 26-second long moment of silence that honor the exact day, 2/26, that he went missing.
It's been 2 months since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers went missing in Hendersonville. Today, the TBI released a statement on the search. It reads in part, quote, April 26 marks 2 months since Sebastian Rogers was reported missing from his Sumner County home. Since that time, TBI special agents from multiple units have been assisting the Sumner County Sheriff's Office in efforts to locate Sebastian. To date, there have been no confirmed sightings of Sebastian since the issuance of the alert. TBI special agents continue to review the information gathered since the investigation began, follow up on all leads or tips that come in, and work with counterparts from other law enforcement agencies to review strategies and consider options. The Amber Alert for Sebastian Rogers remains active. Tonight, a prayer vigil is being held in Sebastian's honor. Peyton Kennedy is live at Hendersonville Memorial Park with more on the event, bringing the community together.
And Nikel, that event is called Light the Path for Sebastian. This bridge will be lit up in green. It's Sebastian's favorite color, and it's meant to symbolize a safe pathway home for Sebastian to his family here in Hendersonville. There will be a prayer vigil. It will last silently for 2 minutes and 26 seconds. That mirrors the date that Sebastian was reported missing, February 26th. One of the organizers of this event says it's an opportunity for Sumner County residents to stand together in solidarity and stand in unwavering support of Sebastian's family.
We do believe that Sebastian is alive, and we do believe that God's going to bring him home. We're going to be praying for our law enforcement because they have a hard task. This is not easy, just day in and day out searching for anyone, but definitely a teenager. And so we're going to be praying for them, praying for the family, praying for the volunteers.
This is one of several prayer vigils for Sebastian that she has been a part of, and I'm told there are more to come if need be. But tonight's event starts at 7:30. Live in Hendersonville, Peyton Kennedy, News 2.
If you are interested in our future coverage of this story, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell before you go. Verdict Vantage thanks you for supporting our continued news coverage and research.
Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for more breaking stories, and remember, email verdictvantage@gmail.com with all of your video requests.